Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1203.
The big thing is always just to stay humble and try to learn as much as you can from everyone around you.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, automotive enthusiasts. I'm revved up and so excited to introduce today's very special guest, calling in from Charleston, South Carolina, Cory Friedman. Hey, Cory, are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
I am ready. I'm looking forward to it.
Here we go. Cory Friedman is the vice president of Autometrics Motorsports, a professional sports car racing team based in Charleston, South Carolina. He has over 20 years of racing and high-performance driving under his belt and is one of the most respected drivers in the paddock. He has raced at tracks across America, in Mexico, Canada, and the Middle East. Cory has competed and won at the highest levels of American sports car racing and multiple podium finishes, including SCCA, Pro World Challenge, Grand Am, ALMS, and IMSA. He's driven in the Daytona 24-hour, Sebring 12-hour, and the 6 hours at Watkins Glen. Today he competes in one of the team's cars in Porsche Club of America national races and is a driving coach for their customers as well as working as a test driver for a major race tire manufacturer. He holds over 30 PCA lap records at tracks across America. I am jealous of all the seat time you got, Cory. I've told our listeners a little bit about you. Would you take a brief moment, share a little bit more about your career, your business, and a very obvious passion for automobiles and racing?
Yeah, well, thanks, Mark. Thank you so much for having me on. I mean, this is a lot of fun.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So basically what our company does is we provide a service that's for guys that like to go racing, that like to go club racing. So we store, transport, rebuild mostly Porsche race cars and transport them all across the country. We have a really good group of clients that come in, drive the cars, and go home, and we take them home, clean them up, and get them turned around and get them ready for the next one. So
nice.
It's a pretty cool thing. We get to meet a lot of really cool people and play with some very fun cars.
You know, so basically arrive and drive in a full service business you've got for racers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Arrive and drive and, anything that the cars need.
You know, I raced vintage cars for 12 years, and I'll tell you, I had Louis Shefchik, who's been a guest on the show, JNL Fabricating. I was racing vintage cars, and he did the same thing. And before I used his services, if you get into racing and you have to do all the work yourself and you've got a career and a job and a family life, trying to get everything ready and get to the track, and then you have challenges with it just messes up the whole weekend. And services like what you guys provide are the best way to go by far. I can tell you that by experience. You're so much calmer. You can focus on your driving. If something happens, you've got a support team there to help you with stuff. It is the way to go. So love what you're doing for racers. And as we continue on your journey, I always like to start with a success quote or a mantra. This is some kind of saying that's been instrumental in forming your life. It's a nice way to get the inspirational tires turning here on Cars Yeah. So, Cory, take the wheel.
I mean, I think the big thing is always just to stay humble and try to learn as much as you can from everyone around you. Let your work, let your driving, do the talking. It was something that I heard a long time ago when I was first starting out is somebody told me, if you're fast, people will know you're fast. You don't have to say it, So if you're just humble and always just, try to pay attention and try to learn from everybody you can, and then use that to advance your business, advance your driving, and just, generally just, help make your life better.
Yeah, your driving always speaks for yourself. And boy, racing has a way of humbling people. That's for sure.
Right.
You could be the top of the world one weekend, the next world's like everything's going wrong. But, I think that works really well for life as well, don't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, as a whole, just kind of be cool about everything and be low key and, keep your head down and do the best you can.
Absolutely. Be like Steve McQueen. He was always pretty cool. So that'd be a good way to go through.
There you go.
Yeah. I came from some humble background. So, well, let's share a story that instigated your personal passion for racing and cars. Is there a pivotal moment in your life when you think of, wow, I'm going to be a car guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was kind of born into it. My father, who's actually president of our company, he's been into cars forever since he was a teenager. And when I was born, I really didn't have a choice. I kind of grew up in the family business, just always had a natural love of cars. I mean, when I was little, my brother and I would be playing with the Hot Wheels cars, and drag racing them down this little, track deal and trying to find out which one was the quickest, and got into some dirt bikes and four-wheelers and stuff as I got a little bit older. And so anything kind of mechanical, anything with, wheels and an engine, I was kind of interested in. So, and my dad, he worked for a lot of IMSA teams in the late 80s. And so, in the 90s when I was old enough, I'd go to the races and watch him and the pit crew, kind of working the events, and I get to see all these cars going around. And thought to myself, one day, I'd love to be out there, with those guys. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
So it sounds like motor oil, I should say, is in your DNA.
Yeah. I mean, whether I like it or not, I think I was kind of born into it. So
yeah.
But yeah,
well, it must be fun to work with your dad. And is your brother also part of the company?
He is. Yep. It's basically my father, my brother, and me are like kind of the three main guys.
The three amigos.
yeah, I guess so. So my brother kind of handles all the behind the scenes stuff. My dad kind of spearheads everything, and I'm kind of like our front man, I guess. I fortunately get to drive our company's car, which is great, and do a lot of the customer relations stuff, and get to kind of talk to all of our customers and things. So it's a lot of fun. There's definitely worse things that we could be doing, that's for sure.
Well, it sounds like it. You guys have all found the secret sauce to life, wrapping your passion for cars into your careers and lives. It's wonderful. Well, let's talk about this road that you're on, this journey you're on. You guys are all entrepreneurs. You own your own business. No doubt that's fraught with some really high highs and maybe some challenges and a failure or two somewhere in there. I'd love for you to walk us through one of those times that was a challenge for you. Kind of walk us through that specific event and then tell us what you learned from it and how that helped you gain even more momentum as you came out of that situation.
Well, we've been pretty fortunate. We've never really had like what I would call like a big failure of any sort. We just kind of chug along. We try to be better than we were. At every day, every build, every race car build, every engine project, every transmission project. We just try to keep continually getting better. Try not to bite off more we can chew. Experience level or monetary wise, and so we're not trying to jump out there. I mean, in the racing world, you see a lot of guys jump in and out, right? They come in, they spend a ton of money, they make it look super, super flashy and everything. But next thing you know, 2-3 years down the road, they're gone. And it's like, and they move on to something else. So I like to think we're kind of in it for the long term. I mean, this is our career. I mean, this is what we really enjoy doing. And, we're trying not to, do anything too fancy or flashy. We just kind of do our thing and try to get better and better and better.
If there's a way you could guide listeners out there that want to get into this style of racing and do this kind of thing, what are some things you see maybe from clients or from, like you mentioned, example, there are people around you that spend too much money right out of the gate. They're not managing their capital very well. What are a couple of problems you see with, say, your customers? You don't have to be specific to a customer, of course, but that you see people doing mistakes, errors, judgment mistakes, things like that you could offer an idea of, don't do that and you won't run into that wall.
Right. The big thing is kind of choosing the right place to race and being careful about, I guess, letting the flash of a big series or sexiness of an expensive car, kind of blind you in which direction you need to go. The whole point is to go and have a good time. I mean, there's very, very few people that make a living driving race cars and things. So most of the guys that are getting into this are doing it to have fun. I mean, they're doing it out there to have a good time. It's just kind of like really figuring out what your ultimate goal is, what your 3-year plan is, what your 5-year plan is, and just kind of like head in that direction. Don't get too caught up in buying, the latest, greatest, fastest car, that's in the magazine and everything. Think more humble than that, right? Start out with a Boxster or a Miata or something like that and get your skills up. And also don't jump into a class that is going to cost more money than the budget will allow. Because, unfortunately, it's racing, it's expensive, and you want to be able to race where you can be competitive at your budget and your financial commitment. It's just a matter of choosing what's the best fit, I guess, for your ultimate goal, and try not to get too wrapped up in things that may not be a good fit for their particular program.
Sounds good. Another thing I always tell people if they think they want to get into that is maybe go out and do some track days with clubs with your street car. Just see if you're comfortable going fast, because sometimes racing looks pretty glamorous and fun, and then they get in a car and they start driving and they go, whoa, this is like serious stuff. It gives you a little bit of sense of what the speed is like and going, okay, am I comfortable with this? Is this good? And then kind of step up. But I like the idea of starting with a lower level car, a slower car. Sometimes you can learn a lot more about driving a slower car than a fast car, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And especially nowadays, I mean, you could go to the dealership and, I mean, just about every manufacturer has a car that's kind of aimed at track days, and just the performance is crazy. I mean, 10 years ago, couldn't imagine that you could go to the dealership and buy, you know, a BMW M4, you know, GTS or something, or Camaro, you know, 1LE, or, you know, all these crazy, like, I mean, just super big performance cars. It makes it good because people can get into the sport, you know, kind of get into the hobby fairly easy nowadays, right? Like, you don't have to build a race car to go do track days. I mean, you can literally just buy a car and go. But it's problem is with the big performance cars, you know, the really big tires with all the driver aids and assists and everything, it kind of covers up a lot of driver skill.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a good and bad thing because it's kind of fun for the guys that aren't super serious. You know, they can jump in and have some good performance and stuff. But for the guys that are really aiming to be better, you know, you just got to be careful of what you're in and try not to let the car hide too many problems and kind of, you know, stunt your growth, so to speak, as a driver.
Yeah. If you want to get a wake-up call, turn off that traction control button.
Right, exactly.
Especially on a wet track. Whoa,
right, for sure.
Hold on. Well, how about a big career aha moment? Now, it sounds like you've been involved in this business, this family business for some time, but was there something along the way with the business where you guys kind of went, this is some kind of service or direction we need to go?
We started doing, you know, we've always done engine and transmission work for our own customers and things, but what we started doing is doing it for other teams, you know, for other shops. They started sending us their clients' work. So shops that may not have had the same capability as we did started sending us engines and sending us transmissions. So we started kind of, oh, that's interesting. You know, we were doing work for other teams, you know, which is great. You know, we normally have a really good relationship with a lot of other shops and teams that do similar things to us. It kind of opened up another door for us. So not only were we maintaining our own customer cars, but we were also indirectly working on other teams' cars by doing engines and transmissions for them. And it's
cool.
It's a great avenue for us. I mean, we do a lot of engine and transmission work for a lot of teams all across the country. I mean, we've got shops from, you know, Australia sending us engines and things to do.
Wow.
So it's turned into one of the main focuses of our business is almost customer drivetrain work, you know, which is kind of a lot of fun.
That's very cool. Well, it's one of those classic things. Look for an area in business where there's a big need and supply the services for that need. And that's exactly what you guys have done. That's very cool. I love it. Well, let's talk a little bit about your first really special car, and whether you want to talk about a street car or maybe even more fun, a race car, because you've done a lot of racing. I would assume there's a point in your life where you jumped into a race car and went, I am here. This is the car I've always wanted to drive. Is there one of those first special vehicles for you?
I mean, fortunately, I've had the chance to drive some really cool stuff. Most recently, some of the newer FIA GT3 cars with the Porsche 991R.
Nice.
It's incredible. I mean, it's the grip and the braking performance. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's like you go into a corner and you're like, there's no way I could brake, you know, this deep, and you brake that deep and you still could have broken later, you know? You're just like, it's just unbelievable. Like the modern stuff is just awesome. But, you know, like my very first race car, really, it was a late 80s 944 turbo. I was driving the car to school. I mean, I was a college kid. I was driving the car to school, you know, every day, and I put a roll bar in it and racing seats. And the very first race I won was a Porsche Club race down at Roebling Road in Savannah. And I drove the car to the track. My dad followed me in the pickup truck, you know, with all our tires and stuff in the back. I jacked the car up, put racing tires on it. I raced it that weekend. Was fortunate enough I won the race, which was incredible. And then I put the street tires back on and I drove the thing home. So
wow, cool.
That was like our first race car, I guess. And I think it was barely a race car, but it was still a race car. And it was so much fun. And was the kickoff to, you know, we've been pretty fortunate. We've had some neat stuff, but that was kind of the first really cool race car, right? So it was a blast.
You know, those 944s did extremely well for Porsche back in the day in professional racing, and a lot of people don't realize that. There are a lot of famous drivers racing those cars, winning lots of races in the 944.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were ahead of their time for sure. I mean, it was, the purists won't like it, but I mean, the 944 was probably a better car than the 911 during that time period. You know, like a 1988 944 turbo was definitely a higher, more advanced car than a 3.2 Carrera, right? So, yeah. I mean, they were neat cars. I mean, the only problem with them nowadays is they're just kind of hitting that age where, they're unfortunately old cars, right? And old cars have old car problems. But I really enjoyed mine. You know, it was a lot of fun. It was a great way to kind of get into some track days and a little bit of club racing.
I was kind of reunited with those lately. I have a good buddy, Bill, who used to race vintage cars with me, and he's a collector. And he found a really, really low mileage 944 that he bought a year or two ago. Incredible. I mean, it's like a little time capsule car. And I hadn't thought of those cars that much until then when he found that car, and then looking it over and checking it out and going for a ride. It's, really sweet cars. So, and they're kind of starting to come back up in value a little bit, I think, as the 911s have become more and more expensive. It's a way to get into the old Porsche market. So there's still some of those out there to be found. This car was incredible. I can't believe how low miles are on it. Is there a car you've owned that you've let go that you really wish you had back?
So about a year and a half ago, it was our shop race car. So we always like to try to have kind of like a team car or shop car that we run in Porsche Club, because we feel like it's good to have a car, hopefully, up front, looking good, kind of helping show off the shop a little bit. And it was a 2007 997 RSR. It was a really cool car, super rare. I mean, I think they made 27 or 28 of them that year worldwide. So
wow.
It was a really, really cool car. It was, and for its time, 2007, it wasn't that long ago. So, but it was still pretty high tech, carbon floor with a little rear diffuser, really exotic engine, but just a ton of fun to drive. I mean, it was, it definitely wasn't very, what the correct term would be. Like the modern stuff, the modern GT stuff is a little bit more clean, a little bit more sanitary, I guess. It's a little bit easier. Yeah. The older cars were a little bit more raw, not that that's an old car, but it was still kind of earlier on in kind of like the Porsche GT kind of development stuff. And it was just an absolute blast to drive. And so, we updated it, and every year Porsche makes their cars a little bit better. So we were using, later model RSR parts to kind of bring it more up to date and stuff. It was just super, super fun. And one day I'm going to definitely kick myself, because I'm sure, I mean, if you look back, I mean, the 75 RSR, or even like, a 964 RSR, 993 RSR, how valuable those cars are now. And it's that tide is going up. So I'm sure one day the 997 RSR is going to be right with it, right? And I'm going to look back and be like, man, we used to own one of those things. What in the world? Why would we sell that car?
Why? But why would we let it go?
Exactly. But for us, we like to stay current. We like to kind of keep moving. We don't want to kind of stick with the same car for too long, because for us, a lot of it is about learning. So the things we learn on our car, we can apply to the customer cars. So we moved on to a 991 Cup. And it was actually the car that me and a good friend of mine, we co-drove together and won a World Challenge Championship with in 2017. So we bought that car from him at the end of the season, and then we started playing with that a little bit more, and that was the car that I raced in Porsche Club last year. But so that's what we bought to replace the 997. But that RSR, I mean, one day I'm going to sit back and just be, kicking myself, I'm sure. We've got a customer that started to kind of collect those cars, so we've actually got two of them in the shop, not ours. Ours went to England. Yeah, it was just a cool car, It's just fun to say that we were able to run one for a while. I mean, It was just pretty neat.
Well, and 12 years ago, I mean, in racing years, when you think about car technology and racing, I mean, every year is worth kind of like dog years, because it just leaps ahead so fast. Yeah, while you think that's an old car, it really was, only 12 years ago. But you look at where things have come from there just in a short time. It's absolutely incredible. Even you go to the echelon of F1 racing and where those cars come from, where they've been. Things are just moving at an incredibly fast pace. Well, let our listeners know a little bit more about Autometrics Motorsports. I'd love for you to share what has you excited and fired up about the new year, all the different services that you guys provide. What's got you really excited about 2019?
Well, the big thing for us is we're in the process of building a new shop.
Wow.
We've been in our location here. Yeah. So we've been in our place since, I want to say 91 or 92. Originally, Autometrics was a street car shop. It still is. We still work on street cars. But Autometrics Motorsports was kind of a spin-off, and that's primarily where me and my brother joined in and kind of joined my dad and kind of started the motorsport side of things. We started doing that in 2001-ish when my brother and I got out of school. We've been in the same shop. I mean, it's a small little place. I mean, we've got stuff, we try to keep it neat and organized, but we're quickly outgrowing it. The good thing about, the economy doing so well in the last couple of years is everybody likes to go racing, so it's kind of, we have some great customers that want to do a lot of stuff. we're kind of outgrowing where we are. So the exciting thing for us is we've bought some land. We found some land that was a little bit further out of town, so we could get a little bit more room. And we're in the process now of working on a new construction for a new, hopefully a much more comfortable shop, so we can expand a little bit, hire some more people, and kind of help provide the service to more guys.
Well, that is exciting. I am so happy for you guys. That's a big endeavor. That's a major move to have your own building, build your own shop. So kudos to you and your team for doing all the hard work you have all these years and pulling this off. I can't wait to see some pictures. You'll have to send me some as that building goes up. That's exciting. I've been involved in building buildings, designing buildings for businesses, and it's an exciting time for sure. So very, very cool. 2019 is looking pretty darn good. How about this question? If you woke up tomorrow and you were a car, manifested into a car, Cory was parked in the garage of the shop, what would he be and why?
I don't know. It's a very interesting question. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of strange. I never really thought about that. Probably something kind of utilitarian, but maybe still fun. I don't know. Maybe like a Cayenne twin turbo or something, or an X5M or something. Kind of
nice.
Like still quick, still fun, but you could get some work done if you need to, right? So maybe
I like it.
A little bit of everything. Probably something like that. Definitely nothing. Nothing too sexy or too flashy or stylish. How about that? I'm definitely not one of those type of guys. So, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting question. That's pretty funny.
Well, cool. One of my past guests came up with that question, and it's gotten some pretty funny answers over the years. That's for sure. So, very nice. Well, Cory, up next is the last lap. Before we put the pedal to the metal, let's say thank you to today's Cars Yeah sponsors. Hey, Cars Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Covercraft. I've protected my vehicles with their products for decades. Want to keep your vehicle's interior looking new? It's easy with Covercraft seat covers. They'll protect your seats from the daily abuse of pets, children, weekend adventures, and even those everyday spills. It's a fast, easy, and inexpensive way to keep your vehicle looking new. All Covercraft seat covers are easy on, easy off design that are machine washable. You can choose from many fabric options, colors, and accessories, all designed and carefully sewn for your special vehicles. Their seat gloves are semi-custom fit for cars and trucks, and their seat savers, a favorite of mine, are custom tailored to fit your seats like a glove. Work truck seat covers are tough, durable, denim weight fabric. It's like putting a pair of rugged jeans on your truck's seats. Want to stay warm? Covercraft also offers seat heaters. Covercraft is the right choice. Learn more today at covercraft.com and tell them Mark at Cars Yeah sent you. That's covercraft.com. Are you looking for a way to get your products or services into the ears of thousands of automotive enthusiasts around the globe? I can help. This is Mark Green here at Cars Yeah, and I'd be honored to be an influencer and ambassador for your brand in a unique and personal way. 5 days a week, thousands of subscribers and listeners enjoy the Cars Yeah podcast and website. Contact me today and I'll show you how at mark@carsyeah.com or connect with me through the Cars Yeah website at carsyeah.com. Hey, Mark Green here from the Cars Yeah podcast. Did you know you can now see me on the Cars Yeah TV show? That's right. Cars Yeah is now on MAV TV. I visit some of the past Cars Yeah guests and take you along for the ride. Go to mavtv.com to learn more where you can enjoy Cars Yeah TV. MAV TV is also available on DirecTV, Fubo TV, Fios by Verizon, or you can stream it through mavtv.com online. And they said I only had a face for podcasting. Okay, Cory, we're back and we're entering the last lap. You've been in this position many times. White flag's out. Time to put your foot into it. I'm going to spin off some questions here and ask you to give us some very quick blips of the throttle answers. So here we go. What's the best automotive advice or racing advice you've ever received?
Yeah, basically it's like looking ahead, keeping your eyes up, because you basically drive where you look, right? And it's kind of the same thing in business. Looking ahead as to where you want your business to be, where do you see your program, in the next couple of years? And it's very, very similar to driving. So, looking ahead, looking through the corner and kind of seeing where you want that car to be, on the way you track out and you exit, and kind of the same idea, and it all kind of ties together.
I love the fact you related this to life, because we all have friends or acquaintances who focus on negative things all the time. And I always say, focus on positive. Don't focus on the negative, because that's where you're going to keep going. look at the positive or be grateful for what you have versus what you don't have. And that's where you'll end up. So, but definitely head up, look far around the corner. How about a personal habit that you have that you think has contributed to your success?
I like to constantly be looking around, for things so online and stuff, every morning I'm looking for, cars for sale or parts for sale or something, So it's fun to kind of window shop and kind of, keep a good sense for what's out there. But it's amazing how many deals you stumble across or, you meet new people or whatever, just kind of, looking around, right? Kind of being involved in every aspect of whatever your business is kind of involved in. And just kind of, it's more like just kicking time around the internet, right? So instead of looking at Facebook stuff, look at for sale ads and see what kind of race cars are for sale, right? And see what pops up, or somebody throws up some vintage 911 engine or something like that, for sale, something that, and then just kind of keeping your ears open, always just kind of looking around and kind of trying to work out an angle for that next deal that pops up.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I have a good buddy that is kind of like eBay king. He looks for these great deals out there he's a Porsche guy, Porsche Club. And then he resells stuff. And lots of times, he just recently made $200 on a car cover that he found in a Porsche magazine. And he didn't even have the guy ship it to him. He said, don't ship it yet, just a minute. Then he put it on eBay, sold it for $200 more, and had the guy he bought it from ship it to the new owner. And he made $200 for just a couple emails. I mean, you're right. There are some pretty cool deals out there to be made. So pay attention. And that little toy eBay is a wonderful way to pick up some spare change as well.
There you go.
It's a cool thing to do. Now, if I could wave my magic wand and arrange for you to have a drink with anyone in the automotive industry, who would it be?
Who's I've always just found very interesting is Al Holbert. He was a mechanical engineer. Yeah. That's what I went to school for as well. And he raced IMSA. He raced one of my favorite cars, which is the Porsche 962, I think he had, Porsche dealerships, which would be something I've always had interest in. He'd just be a cool guy to talk to, just kind of how he got started in the whole thing and just kind of see how everything went. And that's where, the number, when we have a choice, for car numbers, I choose 14, which is the number that he used. It also was the age that I started dirt bike racing, which kind of coincided. I've always thought that'd be pretty cool to kind of just, it would have been neat. It would have been really cool to sit down with him just to kind of hear his story.
I think so. His original real first name is Alva, Alva, Al Holbert. People call him Al, but Alva. And he was, of course, a 5-time champion of the IMSA Camel GT series. So, he was quite a driver, quite an inspiration. That would be pretty cool to sit down with him. Now, how about a book? Is there a book you've read that you think our listeners would enjoy?
I was talking to my brother about this, and I thought it was kind of more of a joke than anything, but I was thinking like a Dave Ramsey financial book, right? So people can make as much money as possible so they can buy more race cars, So,
well, Dave Ramsey would probably tell you not to spend money on race cars, but I know what you mean. Yeah, he's a great read.
Right, yeah, something along those lines. All the classics, right? The Racing in the Rain and all that stuff. I mean, but there's a ton of good stuff out there. So.
Yeah, I like Dave Ramsey. I bought books by him and gave them to my kids when they graduated from college, just kind of as a guideline of, don't get yourself in trouble. Don't get caught up in buying a whole lot of stuff. Don't get into the credit card trap or the credit trap for that matter. I love the fact that Dave Ramsey has helped so many people get out of debt and rethink the way they look and use this tool we call capital or money in a very different way. So, of course, here we are talking about racing and saving money. That's kind of oxymoron, but I understand. Well, listeners, you can find these resources that Cory has been so kind to share on his Cars Yeah show notes page. Just go to carsyeah.com, type in Cory Friedman, and that page will pop right up. All right, Cory, we're up to the checkered flag, and this last question can be a bit of a doozy. Today, I'm going to buy you any cool collector car or race car, doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to park it in your garage. It's yours for free, but there's a couple rules to this game. It's the only one you can have. That's why you can keep your other race cars, your daily drivers. This is a toy. This is something fun. You have to drive it, though. No garage queens. I want you to get out there on the track or the street and enjoy it. And you can't sell it to buy a bunch of racing parts or other race cars with. So if you pick the most expensive car, you are stuck with it, my friend. So what can I buy you today?
We kind of touched on it before. I mean, the Porsche 962, that's just, for me, I think that's the car. I mean, it it was just, one of the first aero, GT type cars, right? Prototype GT cars. I mean, it was so successful and all the racing that it ever did. I'm sure I've never had a chance to drive one. I was super close one time to getting a chance to drive one. I was at a lapping day once, and a guy had one there, and he was like, "Oh man, you need to take this thing out." And I'm like, "Yes, absolutely, sure." And the car developed an oil leak, and they were like, "Oh, as soon as we fix it, you can go out." And they just were never had a chance to fix it. So I was really close to getting a chance to do a couple laps in one. But those things just are incredible. I mean, that'd probably be it, right? Go vintage racing with it, take it out for lapping days and things, and it's just so cool looking. I mean, you could just sit and look at it, and still enjoy it. Yeah, those things would be pretty cool. I would definitely be okay with having one of those for a long time.
I think so. Yeah, 962. I've never driven one either, but I've sat in them. I know Bruce Canepa, I believe, has one, so he's been a guest on the show. I'll call him up. I'm sure he'd be happy to take my check and ship you that car. So not a cheap little toy, but certainly fun. Right. But I'm guessing you may have dodged a big bullet that day. What if you'd been out driving that thing and developed that oil leak? So right. Either blow an engine or spin out or something. But I think you'll get your chance one of these days. If somebody was going to toss you the key to that thing, and they do have a key actually too, which makes it even more. Yeah, it's just very, very cool. 962. Be still my heart. Well, Cory, you've taken us on a great ride today. Really enjoyed your stories and learning more about you. Congratulations on the new building in 2019. That's very exciting. Thanks for sharing your journey. Could you offer us a little parting piece of wisdom or guidance before you rip off down the track in that Porsche 962?
Yeah, well, kind of like what you talked about before is just kind of being positive, right? Like looking at the good things, not focusing on the negative stuff. I mean, if a lot of the listeners and stuff, I'm sure they're into cars in some way or another. I mean, just to have the ability to play with any sort of car. I mean, whether it's a Miata or if it's a 962 or whatever. I mean, just think of how blessed we are to have the opportunity to do that.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Just really, really enjoy what you're into. And like you said, don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have, and just have a good time with it.
I remember standing on the lawn at Pebble Beach with a guy once that I just met, and he said, "Gosh, this place bums me out. I can't afford any of these cars." And I said, "But you're here. You know how many people would just give an arm just to come to this event and see these cars?" And he went, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. So,
right, exactly.
Yeah, focus on the positive. Thank you to my mom. She always taught me that. Don't focus on what you don't have. Be grateful for what you do have, and you'll forget all about being bummed out. Oh, it's awesome. And what's the best way for our listeners to learn more about you and your business at Autometrics Motorsports?
Autometricsmotorsports.com is our website. We also have a YouTube channel where we put some stuff up. I personally have a YouTube channel. If you just search my name, Cory Friedman on YouTube, I have a ton of in-car videos and some cool stuff put up there. And we also have a Facebook page, and Instagram and all like the normal stuff. But yeah, sure. Yeah, we'd love people to come check us out.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I put links to all those on Cory's show notes page. And a shout out to Cars Yeah listener Michael Branding. He's the one that introduced me to Cory. So Michael, thank you for listening. Thank you for introducing me to a very inspiring automotive enthusiast. Cory, thanks for being so generous today with your time and expertise, for sharing your experiences with our listeners. Until you and I talk again, I'll see you down the road.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. You take care of your cars, but who takes care of your investments? Tune-ups aren't just for engines. Updating your financial plan is important too. Your GPS may take you from A to B, but it won't help you on the road to financial freedom. For that, you need a good co-pilot and a very trusted advisor. Chris Kimball, CFP, is just the man for the job. He'll guide you down that road without driving you crazy. For over 25 years, Chris has helped people just like you and me with their financial planning and investments. With a master's degree in financial services, he is eminently qualified. And he's a car guy too. Learn more at chrisvkimball.com or call 866-ON-A-PLAN. Securities through Money Concepts Capital Corp. Member FINRA SIPC. CK Financial Services is not affiliated with Money Concepts Capital Corp.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah!